has anything meaningfully changed in AI within the automotive industry? And what can be done to leverage this to bring more efficiency to the dealerships or whatnot?
Yeah, I think, there's really kind of three key areas that we are seeing today AI delivering business value for dealers. One is really sales and lead management, right? So there are big problems associated with, managing sales inquiries, and that half of inquiries come in overnight. Many inquiries require long-term follow-up, and many inquiries or leads just never actually engage, with a BDC rep. And so you're sapping up valuable human resources. All of those can be very easily solved with AI that works 24 hours a day, indiscriminately does the long-term follow-up, and really allows your BDC people to focus on building relationships, building rapport, upselling other products. That's one use case. The second use case is really around service, retention, loyalty. And so dealerships are sitting on a massive treasure trove as it relates to their DM. They've got 5,000 or 10,000 records of current customers, but they really have no way to go and mine and leverage that valuable database. AI can intelligently start to do outreach based on predictive modeling, based on driving habits, based on mass data, based on maintenance requirements to automate all of that outreach, keep that person coming back in for service, all via SMS as well as email. And third is very simply web chat. Web chat's a category that has innovated in a long time. And so you've either got human-based web chat that is often expensive and very delayed in responding to a consumer, or you've got, what I would call kind of scripted logic analog web chat, which doesn't really actually answer a consumer's questions, really is just a glorified lead form. With generative AI, you can bring a really enhanced chat experience with massively improved conversation quality, but still experience superior conversions to what's out there today. So again, it's really sales lead management, SMS, email, text message, service, loyalty, and retention, using that same, channel of communication to get people coming back in for service. And then third is really next generation chat experience on the website.
Okay, so two questions on that. The first one is, what's adoption today, right? You just mentioned three important parts of interacting at a dealership, but what is adoption across our industry right now? Is it like skyrocketing? What does it look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would say we have probably around 3,000 customers on our sales AI product, probably 2,000 on our service AI, and roughly 1,500 on our chat products. I would say we've definitely experienced acceleration. It feels like, we crossed the chasm. We acquired our first AI business in May of 2020. And I would say for the first couple of years, it was more small, progressive dealers, that were buying our AI products. Now we are seeing massive demand and massive adoption from, what I call mid-major and major groups, right? Many of these folks have somebody in the boardroom in their ivory tower asking, what's your strategy with generative AI? It's all over the headlines. And, that plays really nicely. And it's been a great tailwind for us. But yeah, we're definitely feel like we've crossed the chasm where, the large majority of dealerships, large groups, large publicly traded retailers are reaching out to us asking, what can we do to implement your AI products across our stores?
You're an incredible success story because I am one of those dealers that worked with you when you were Spin Car. I was a used car dealer, and I forget who it was. I forget the name of the person from your team that reached out. I have it in my emails. I could literally find this from like a decade ago. But I used Spin Car. I was probably an early customer because it solved a real problem for us. We're talking about like the mid 2010s. So you've clearly come a long way. You're way more than just, a Spin Car or vehicle photography company. You made a really big acquisition, right? Over $100 million. That's a big deal for our industry, right? What was this acquisition of Outsell about? Why did you do this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Yossi. And yes, we certainly remember, when you first acquired our merchandising products at your store, and appreciate your business. We'll have to figure out.
I'll look up the name, by the way.
That's great. Absolutely. So yeah, we acquired Outsell. We announced that in July. That was, over $100 million acquisition for us. And really what that does for us is gets us closer to our North Star goal of continuing to cement ourselves as the de facto standard of automotive AI. Outsell is known as a market-leading automotive marketing automation platform, but I think what they bring to us that excites us even more is they've got really rich data about customers going back 20 years. So back 2000, they've been tracking 68 million American consumers, what people engage with, how do they service, what time do they service, what channels, what time of day do they, interact with different communications, they visit the site, what's their propensity, what's their value to a dealership. They've got this really rich and deep asset, which is that 20 years of customer data. The value to Impel is there is a notion that as AI over time becomes more common and democratized, the companies that will win out will those those that have access to the largest troves of training data to train on vertical specific use cases. In our case, that is obviously powering and honing our models for specific automotive use cases.
All right. So you mentioned retention or just going into the treasure trove of data, right? Being more efficient with your prior customer data. I just did a podcast with Vince Sheehy, owner of Sheehy Auto Group in Maryland, Virginia area, 30 plus rooftops. And one of the cool moments of the podcast was that there was such an emphasis at their stores on retention. And we started talking about retention and, myself also from my prior experience, retention was a big thing because we all know it's a lot cheaper to keep a customer or less expensive than it is to acquire a new one. So my theory is that, and you clearly, I have to imagine you have a lot more insight into this, but my theory is that dealers will just naturally pay a lot more attention to retention as the market consolidates, as demand continues cooling, which is the reality that the market is experiencing. And, people always pay some attention to retention, but I think that as customer acquisition costs rise, it just makes more sense for people to pay more attention to it. So my question to you now is, how can you drive that? You mentioned your acquisition and what Outsell can bring to the table, but what can you do to actually drive retention at dealerships?
Yeah, so we universally see when customers adopt our Service AI product, and now when they also adopt Outsell on top of our Service AI product, we're making a demonstrable improvement in their retention rates, or in the case of Toyota, into their TLE rates. But, Yossi, I could not agree with you more, right? I can't remember if it was Roger Penske or whom it was that said, you should never lose a customer. You should have a customer for life. What dealerships fail to do today is really do that proactive outreach, right? Most service BDCs can't even keep up with all of the inbound phone calls. The phones are ringing off the hook. There's zero chance that they have the ability to go and do all of that manual outreach to the 5,000 people that are sitting in their mess system. That's exactly what AI can do. It is a great use case for AI to go and do all of that menial, repetitive outreach. One thing I think when we first started doing service, we acquired a business called Car Labs in October of 2020. We expected, we might get high opt-out rates, or, customers might say, stop bothering me. The reactions have actually been the exact opposite. You would be shocked how often a consumer that the AI follows up with 3, 4, 5 times apologizes, to the AI, thinking it's a human. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been neglecting that. Thank you so much for the persistence. Thank you for the reminder. It's been shocking how thankful people are. They view it almost like their own service concierge, reminding them, staying on top of them, being that voice of the dealership. And, look, I drive a Land Rover, which is not the most reliable car. I kind of wish my dealership had somebody reaching out to me, reminding me that, hey, you should do this preventative maintenance before it turns into a much bigger issue. That's a long way of saying not only does it positively impact retention rates for dealerships, but we're actually seeing an enhanced customer experience as well.
Give us some secrets of how a $100 million deal gets done in automotive retail, right? Give us the behind the scenes.
We've been working with Outsell commercially for quite some time, right? So, one of the things that Outsell does is it will flag to a dealership anybody that has a high propensity score. So if they flag you, Yossi, as a 9 or a 10, that means there is a 98% probability that you're going to purchase a vehicle in the next, 1 week, for example. So they tell you that, and then the BDC or sales reps are responsible for making the outbound calls. Outsell realized dealerships will do that. They will call all of the 9s and 10s, but they don't actively follow up with people that are 6, 7, 8, meaning they're very 80% likely to transact in the next month. Dealerships were often neglecting those, just given not enough hours in the day. There's still a huge amount of opportunity and gold in that population, and that's a great target for AI to go after, as it will follow up mercilessly and indiscriminately with all of those people. And so we had this ongoing existing commercial relationship with Outsell, which I think is the basis for any good acquisition, right? The leap of faith in an acquisition thesis is lessened significantly if you have an existing commercial partnership with somebody. And so we had that going for the last roughly 2 years, again, using our AI to tag people flagged as high buyer propensity, knowing that the BDC wouldn't get to them. I was actually at the Autovate conference, though, last year in December of 2020. Yeah, let's go. When we started having the corporate development conversation. So that's when I met the CEO of Outsell for the first time. We realized that he was looking to retire. And that's when we started, kind of the conversation with them. We finally closed it. I think the deal closed at the end of June. We didn't announce it for a few weeks, given what was going on with CDK. But, that's the amount of effort. I mean, it took a full 6 months. And, again, I would say compared to some of the other deals that we've done, right? This is our third acquisition. The first two were more product tuck-in style acquisitions. Outsell has 170 employees. They've got 20 years of operating history. They were in over 2,000 dealerships. It's a dramatically different style of acquisition. In addition to the focus that we have today on product integration, we are also also very, very focused on cultural integration. Again, that's the reason that a lot of acquisitions fail. And so, we're really focused on bringing these two companies together. There are things that they do phenomenally that we're adopting at Impel and vice versa. And so couldn't be more excited though. The more we've gotten to know the team and the products there, the more and more impressed we've become. And reactions from the industry have been simply amazing. Again, I think we knew we were buying value in data. We knew we were buying value in what they do with marketing automation, but just the reactions that we've seen from customers when we show this single pane of glass vision, and this idea of a coordinated two-tiered approach has been really, really overwhelmingly positive.